Hey everyone, welcome. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. Today's free training and lunch lesson live is on Facebook groups. I love talking about Facebook groups, so I'm so glad you're here. Give me a little wave or a thumbs up in the chat below. I'd love to see who's here. Tell me who is here on the live, just type live below, and who is watching on the replay. Just type replay below. I would love to see who comes in the day of and who's catching me later on when it's convenient for them. Awesome, so glad you're here. All right, so today we are going to talk about why you need a Facebook group, right? If you don't have a Facebook group and you're curious and you're watching this video, we are going to talk about why you need one. And number two, how to grow your Facebook group, right? And then also how to turn that into your lead generation machine, right? You should be getting 5 to 10 qualified leads from your Facebook group every single day. If you are not, let's talk, right? I would love to hear what strategies you've tried and how you feel like your group is going, right? If you feel like you've been hearing crickets in your group, or if you feel like people are just not responding and you feel like you're not getting a lot of movement, you're not getting new people every day, and you're not getting movement or discussions happening, engagement inside your group. Definitely, let's talk. All right, so tell me below, drop your Facebook group, right? If you have a Facebook group, we would all love to support you. I would love to support you. Feel free to drop your Facebook group link in the comments below. And let me know, right? Do you feel like, or you could not share your group if you don't want to, but if you feel like you have a dead group, right? Feel free to just drop a little dead group below. Or you just feel like it's kind of a ghost town, right? I'd love to hear if you feel like people are just not responding, if you feel like people aren't seeing your posts, or how you're feeling, right? Just tell me below how you're feeling about your group. I would love to hear. Awesome. So thank you so much to everyone who voted. Every Tuesday I put out a poll in my group to ask what we should talk about, right? So if you have a topic that keeps coming up for your business, or you have a question on a certain strategy, or you've been trying or thinking about something and you want to discuss it, let me know, right? Feel free to comment below if you have a strategy or a question that you want to ask. Or you can always add it to the poll on Tuesdays, right? So you can just suggest a poll on Tuesday, or you can vote, right? Thanks so much to everyone who voted. Today's topic obviously is Facebook groups. So definitely people are curious about and wanting to grow their Facebook group. So I'm so glad you're here. So I know this is for go-getters, right? I know you are a go-getter. I know you are a coach who is motivated to move your business, right? You are listening to this free training, hoping to get some little tidbits, little tweaks that you can use in your business today, right? So I always invite you to put on your abundant mindset as you're listening to this video and pick out 2 action items that you can take away from this video. Feel free to comment below with your 2 action items as they come up, or at the end, you can just tell me what 2 things you're going to do to move your business forward, right? You are an action taker. You are a go-getter. I know you can do a lot of stuff on your own, right? You are resourceful for sure. So, but whenever we're consuming free information, right, it's always good to take away something that we can actually use in our business, right? Otherwise, we start to, if we don't really pinpoint what we're going to do or what action we're going to take or what thought inspired us in that video, often it goes by the wayside, we forget, and it's really easy to be bombarded with so much information, right? So just really easy, pick out 2 things from today's video that you're going to take away or you're going to try in your business. I would love to hear below. Awesome. So if you're new here, my name is Christina. I have been helping businesses for the last decade, right? I've had several businesses of my own. I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010. So that's been, 15 years ago. And what I quickly realized on Etsy was that, right, it's giant. The internet is vast, right? It is really hard to get seen anywhere, right? If anyone feels like that, right, you built it and you hoped that they would come, right? And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, right? Sadly, I wish it did. I really wish it did. And I feel like so many of us hopeful entrepreneurs think that it will, right? We think if I build my social media profiles, if I build my website, people will come. And sadly, right, that does not happen. So in 2014, my husband and I started a little bike shop, coffee shop. That was our brick and mortar venture. It was really fun. We loved creating that bike shop, and I loved talking with customers, right? I always say a barista is much like a bartender, where people kind of share their life with you, and it was amazing. So I loved getting to know our community, and we had really great success for a couple of years. And what I learned at the bike shop, right? Again, really quickly early on, I learned, okay, I need to get people in my door now, right? Like yesterday. So it wasn't that we built this perfect bike shop and people would just show up, right? I really thought that they would. Of course they didn't. And that's where marketing, and that's where my whole world, right, changed. You have to go to them. You have to go where your customers are, right? It is not enough to be a passive stander by in your business and just wait. Right? It is not enough to post and wait, right? Unfortunately, it is not enough to just stand by and watch people give or take your business, right? That is not enough. You are here to make sales. You are here to make connections. So you have to take a little bit more of a direct approach, right? And I think that's really hard for women sometimes. I know it is for me, right? I grew up in a very slightly passive aggressive, right? I don't know if any of you, but definitely very passive, right? Women are taught to be polite and not be direct, right? So it's really hard for us when we become business owners to really be direct and ask for the sale, ask for the offer, share what you're actually doing, right? We try to do little indirect ways of talking about our business, right? And it's hard, I get it. But I learned very quickly at the bike shop, right? You have to go to them. You have to go to your customers and say, hey, this is me, here I am, here's what I offer, here's something in it for you, right? And that is really the key. And so we're going to talk all about that, right? At the bike shop, I would create coloring pages. That was my jam for kids, because we really quickly realized that the high-end cyclists maybe are not our target audience. It was really the families, right? So we were really targeting kids' bikes, get everybody in the bike shop, get everybody on a bike. That was our goal. So I started with coloring pages, and I put those everywhere, right? I did coloring pages, adult coloring pages, coloring contests, everything to do. And I put a little coupon at the end, right? Come in for a free cup of coffee, get your bike tuned, all of those things. So I really quickly realized that you needed to go where they were. So also we created a Facebook group, right? So in our little town, there are many Facebook groups. And so even back then in 2014, obviously people were very heavy into Facebook groups. So we thought, okay, we'll create one for our business. And that was such a success, right? We loved that Facebook group because you could create events. We really built up a community. We really created our own bike group, right? And it was great. And in fact, it was such a success that there are still members in that bike group that get together and bike and go on bike rides, right? Still to this day. So that's really a testament to the Facebook group idea, right? So sadly, when our bike shop had to close, we, of course, it was heartbreaking, right? If any of you have closed a brick and mortar store or closed any business, right? It can be really, really challenging and really hard, right? It's definitely been, I think, the number one thing that has been hard for me to get a business going again, right? Is knowing that that didn't work out. And so I always try to encourage everyone who, feels like you failed, right? Failure, I think, is really a step towards freedom, right? Failure is really a step towards your learning and your growth, right? You're not going to grow unless you have made a few mistakes, right? Or failed a few times. So I always like to say I made all the mistakes, right? So that you don't have to. So I am here to share everything that I learned with you so that, right, my passion is that no other women business owner has to close her doors, right? Because it was so heartbreaking for me that I just really want to make sure everyone has the right tools, the right access to knowledge, and that we can all grow together, right? We all rise together. That's my goal. So I'm so glad you're here. So back to the Facebook group, right? I really, after the bike shop, I turned my passion into helping other business owners. And I forgot that lesson of the Facebook group. I would always encourage my clients to, yes, start a Facebook group, share in other Facebook groups, right? I was really heavy, always into other Facebook groups, but I never created one of my own for my coaching business, right? And I don't know why. I think it just took me forever, and it's definitely one of those limiting beliefs that I know is hard for a lot of people to get over, right? It felt like more work. It felt like I just didn't understand the power of it, right? So I will tell you, I wasted a lot of years, right? I wasted a lot of years posting and hoping. And I don't want that for you, right? I am here to tell you, I want you to fast track your business. I want you to fast track your lead generation. So the Facebook group is the #1 way to get leads, right? I was stuck in a posting and hoping, oh, I just need to grow, right? Oh, I just need enough people to see my stuff. Oh, I just need to tweak my message. I need to perfect my posts. I need to maybe change my colors, right? Change my pictures. I just need to, right? I need to, me. I need to change me. When in fact, it was just nobody was seeing my posts, right? And if no one is seeing your posts, more posting is not the answer, right? I really am trying to encourage everyone to not focus so much on content. Content is amazing, right? But we can get stuck in this loop where we're like, oh, if this content isn't working, then I must need more content, right? Or I must need to change my content. And that is typically not the case, right? You do not need to tweak your content, especially until you have enough eyeballs and enough feedback to know if your content is resonating with anyone, right? If no one is responding to your content, it is not that it doesn't resonate, it's that no one has seen it, more likely, right? Sadly, unfortunately, right? So if you are not getting enough eyeballs on your content, it is not about making more content or tweaking that content. You don't have enough information to change it, right? So the Facebook group is the best way to do this, to figure this out, right? So with the Facebook group, I call it the sales funnel. It is the perfect place to capture your audience, right? That's the key. I always say go where your audience is, but then you've got to capture their information so you can follow up with them, right? No one is, walking into a bike shop and just spur of the moment dropping, a couple thousand on a bike, right? You've got to warm them up, right? So no one is going to answer your friend request and then buy from you. That is not how it works, right? You can friend request someone and then you've got to get to know them, start a conversation, support them, right? I always say the best part of being a business owner is reciprocity, being reciprocal, right? Reciprocate with other business owners. They need your support. You need their support. Why not support them first before asking for support? That's my big, right? My big word of advice, right? I feel like if we could all support each other first, right, then I think it would come back around and we would all receive more support. That's the goal. So right, with the Facebook group, that is the best way to capture your audience. You may notice over on social media profiles, you are posting and hoping, right? Instagram is notorious for this. You are posting. I see so many accounts, right? Even my own, right? I don't get a lot of comments on Instagram, but I convert those followers, right? And that is the key, because if they are, one, not seeing your post probably, right? And they're not commenting, they are scrolling, they're just passing by, right? So you've got to find a way to capture that audience. You have found them, right? And Instagram is a great place to find your audience, grow your followers, right? You can follow them and hopefully they will follow you back. But I would never call a follower a lead. I do not think that a lead is a qualified lead until they have taken action, right? So a follower, I feel like that's a very small action, right? That's barely an action. It is not a lead until someone has shown particular interest. If they have commented with your call to action, if they have signed up, more so, right? I would rarely call a lead until someone has dropped their email, said yes to something. So a follower is not a lead, in my opinion. So you want to convert your followers into leads, right? That's the first step. And the best way to do that is with a Facebook group. So I call it the sales funnel, right? It is really the best place to capture your audience. So get your Instagram followers over into your Facebook group. What is so valuable about the Facebook group and why I call it the sales funnel is those 3 entry questions, right? You get to ask questions where people take action. They are actually taking action even just by joining your group, right? They have already taken a step to say, I resonate with the name of your group and I want in, right? Whatever it is, the name of your group. Then those entry questions, they can still not answer those questions, right? And you get to decide who gets in. But that's the beauty, right? You get to decide who gets in your Facebook group. You don't really have control over your followers over on Instagram or your Facebook profile or any other social media profile, right? You do not have control over your followers. In your Facebook group, you get to decide who gets in. So you don't have to let in the spammy accounts, right? You don't have to let in people that aren't in your target audience, right? Don't waste your time with people who are not really interested in your topic, right? Who you don't actually serve. So you get to decide who gets in your Facebook group, and hopefully they'll answer those questions and you get to know more information about them. And that's what is beautiful about the Facebook group. Once you have a you have a community of your target audience, that's when you can actually get real marketing research, you can get real feedback, you can get real information back on your message, right? Is this resonating with people? Take a poll, right? Ask your group, ask your audience, which word resonates more with you? I'm thinking of offering this freebie, right? I'm thinking of having this offer. Which one would you be interested in? If I could help you with this, blah, 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 right? So I would always recommend do not change your offer or your content or any other piece of marketing material until you have actual feedback from your target audience, right? It seems so simple, but I see this so much, right? And I myself was stuck in this trap. I must have to change me, right? It's all about me. I must have to tweak my message. I must have to change my post. I must, right? It's not resonating. It's not whatever. But no, they weren't seeing it. No one is seeing your posts. No one is seeing your posts. So the answer is not more posts, right? I really hope that sticks with any of you who are feeling trapped, right? Or stuck. If you feel like you are stuck and you are not making moves in your business or nothing is really growing or moving forward, let's talk, right? Because it's definitely not about just doing more of the thing that's not working, right? And that would be my biggest argument to someone who says, like myself, oh, I don't have time for a Facebook group. That seems like so much work. And my message is always, okay, pick your hard, right? What's hard? Is it hard doing the things you're already doing that are not working? Because that feels like a lot of work, right? And that feels like hard work. So if you're spending a lot of time doing things that are not working, I don't suggest doing more of those things, right? It is more about getting the most effective strategy for your time and effort, right? Getting the most bang for your buck. And that's where I feel like the Facebook group is the easiest and quickest way to grow leads and actually capture your audience. So that's really the goal, right? And that's really the great thing about Facebook groups. So that is why you need a Facebook group, right? You need a Facebook group to change your followers, convert your followers from just passersby into action takers, right? You need to convert your followers into qualified leads. So you want to get actually people who are interested, qualified people into your group, right? And that is the goal. So we're going to talk about 3 things. So that was why you need a Facebook group, right? Now we're going to talk about 3 things, how to grow your Facebook group. So these are my 3 favorite ways to grow your Facebook group. So the first way, right, is to invite your friends, right? And I get it. A lot of us don't feel like we want to mesh or blur the lines of being a person with our friends our personal friends on Facebook and new potential customers. And I get it, right? If you're in the mindset that I don't want to bug my friends, right? I completely understand that. But probably more of us have so many more acquaintances on Facebook, or people that it's not like we grew up with them or our family members, right? We are friends with more people than are really our close friends, right? So for sure, you probably have friends that are in your target audience, and they might surprise you, right? It might surprise you which friends support you, which friends, even if they never buy from you, they want to support you and your business, right? They understand that you are a business and you're trying to grow and all of those things, right? So more often than not, they will want to support you. So I definitely suggest inviting your friends, right? Really, I always say this in my challenge, in my Grow Your Group challenge, right? Very easily, you could get 50 members in your group if you just invite your friends. You probably have 50 friends who are in your target audience, right? And again, you could decide how this goes, right? If you feel awkward, if you feel weird, if you feel passive, right? You can always send them a message and be like, hey, I invited you to my group, but hey, I'm just trying to grow the numbers. I really appreciate the support, right? If you feel like you have to qualify or quantify your invitation, that's fine. But also keep in mind that when you invite someone to a group, they do not get the 3 questions, right? The qualifying questions. So that's okay if you're just trying to grow your numbers, right? If you want people in your group just to get started, that's really a great way to reinvigorate the group, is to invite your friends, right? Get some new eyeballs in there, get people talking. Even if you have some friends who are just willing to kind of like support you and comment, that's a great place, right? Have a post and just tag a friend and be like, hey, what do you think of this, right? I mean, it's a great way just to get the algorithm going, right? So if you have some friends who are willing to support you, always start there, right? I think that's the #1 tip with Facebook groups. And it's great because Facebook groups, there's a button, right? It really easily allows you to invite friends, and then you can decide, you can choose which friends to invite. So that would be my number one tip, right? Is to invite your friends and ask for support, right? People want to support you. So just keep in mind, they aren't going to get those 3 questions more than likely. All right, number 2 tip to grow your group is using other Facebook groups, right? I have for a decade, right, used other Facebook groups. That was the number 1 way that I grew my Etsy shop back in 2010, was using other Facebook groups. So all of those support groups, right, that are in your target audience. I was in every Etsy shop group there could be, and it's a great place just to build community. And I'm still friends with many of those Etsy shop owners, right? A decade later. So it's really a great place to make connections using other Facebook groups, right? And I get it. I get a lot of kickback, right? At this point, a lot of pushback, because there are certainly some very large, very spammy groups, right? And I get it, right? You get to decide, right? You get to curtail your feed. You get to fix your feed. You get to decide what you let into your world. And that's important, right? I always say protect your peace, right? Protect your timing, protect your triggers, right? If you are scrolling through your Facebook feed and something does not make you feel great, you get to decide. You can X out of that, show me less of this, right? You get to decide. So if there is a spammy Facebook group that you don't want any more part of, or if there has been some drama in a Facebook group that you don't want any part of, X out of it, right? Unfollow, X out of your feed, right? You curtail your feed, you fix your feed. So you get to decide what you let into your space, what you let into your energy. And that's really important, right? Because our feed kind of becomes our, right? Without realizing it, we're letting in all this data, we're letting in all this energy. So if it's things that do not light you up, fix your feed, right? So that's really important. So using other Facebook groups, though, that is really my number 2 tip. Use other Facebook groups. So this is where you would want to, and I get this. I get that it can be confusing. If you have a freebie, if you have a website, if you have an email list, you're like, what am I gonna send? Where am I gonna send people, right? And it can kind of get scattered, right? So if you're in all these different Facebook groups, I would say your number 1 goal is to get people into your Facebook group, because they get to answer those questions, right? You very quickly get to see, are they interested in your stuff, right? And we'll talk about what those 3 questions should be. But using other Facebook groups to get people to your Facebook group, that should be your number 1 goal. If it's your sales funnel, right? And I really think treating your Facebook group like your sales funnel is the best way to get all your pieces working, right? That's really my cup of tea. That is my specialty. I love getting all of your tech, all of your pieces that you've started, right? You might have Pinterest over here, you might have a website, a freebie, but nothing seems to be really cohesively working into one system that gets you effective leads, right? That gets you qualified leads every single day. That's really where I come in. I'm really good at looking at the bigger picture and seeing all those pieces and getting them all working so that it's working for you, right? As opposed to feeling so separate and not really doing much for you, right? So that's really where I love to help you out. But getting the Facebook group, right? Using other Facebook groups to invite people to your Facebook group. So I always say, if your sales funnel is your Facebook group, that is your number 1 goal. Every single day you show up online, all you have to focus on is getting people to your Facebook group. I love having just one thing to focus on, right? So when you get up in the morning and you're spending a quick 15 minutes scrolling through your feed, hopefully there are multiple opportunities where you could invite people to your group. That's really where you want to get to. What I love is curtailing my feed. I'm telling Facebook what I want to see more of, right? So the more you like those posts where you can either promote, or the posts where people are asking about your particular industry, asking questions about wellness, asking questions about being, pregnant, asking questions about, whatever it is for your industry, mental health, caregiving, right? Wellness, mindset, weight loss, whatever that is, right? If you are in those groups, and I always suggest being in those groups where your target audience is, show Facebook what you want to see more of. So like the posts where people are asking questions, like the posts where people are saying, hey, promote your stuff, right? And drop your comments and make sure it's enticing, right? Not just here's my Facebook group, right? Sometimes that can be enticing, but I would always give a little more blurb, right? Why would people want to join your Facebook group? What do they get out of it, right? What's in it for them? So give them a little something, right? Like come on over to my Facebook group. I'm offering a free, call. So to get clarity on your whatever, right? Get clarity on your health, get clarity on your mindset. Come on over. I'm giving free tips and resources. Come on over to the group. So I would always be specific about what you share in your group to get people excited, right? Get them enticed, get them moving, right? That's the goal. So use other Facebook groups to get people over to your Facebook group. And this is where you can be more strategic, right? So if there are some really active Facebook groups that are full of your target audience, you definitely want to think about how to get more of those people over to your Facebook group, right? So a lot of groups don't allow promotion, and that's okay, right? You really want to be a genuine human in those groups. If they are full of your target audience, you want to be checking out what's in the feed, the main feed of the group, what people are asking about, if there's, an expertise you can drop. If someone's like, hey, what do I do about what do I do about weight loss? Or, oh, I'm really plateauing in my, health journey, blah, 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 whatever. If there's a quick like, hey, here's what I've learned. Can I send you my freebie? Right? That's a great way to genuinely connect with people in those other Facebook groups. Is just be a genuine human, right? Offer some free advice that you're willing to give away for free. And then ask them. I always say the start of a sale is permission, right? The best part of sales is asking permission. So ask them, can I send you something, right? Send them a DM. Here's my freebie. I'd love to have you come on over to the group or whatever it is, right? But I would always ask that permission in those other groups, especially, and those are usually in the rules, right? But especially if they do not allow promotion in that group, you definitely want to ask permission. Like, hey, and you could start a little comment, start a little comment chain with them, or just send them a private message, right? And say, hey, I saw that you were asking about this. Here's what I've learned. But always give them some free advice first before you just say, hey, join my Facebook group. Or before you say, hey, I've got this freebie, right? Would you want it? I would always try to encourage you to start a conversation with them first, right? It's all about building those relationships. I always say it is more important, I think, for you to be building relationships every single day as opposed to creating content, right? That's always, what I think is more important. I do not think content is king. I think relationships rule, right? That is really what I believe. So if you can have more headspace, if you can put your content on secondary, on automatic, ancillary, right? I really think your content should be second to building relationships. I think relationships are going to get you farther in your business than content. That's my 2 cents, right? So if you can focus on those relationships and build those in those other Facebook groups and get people to come on over to your Facebook group, that would be the goal. So that is tip number 2, is use other Facebook groups to get people into your Facebook group. And then tip number 3, what I really call the secret sauce, right? I kind of alluded to this earlier, but it is really the DMs. I really think the DMs, right? Again, this is where you are building relationships, right? You want to have that one-on-one conversation with someone, ask them questions about your thing. You want to get to know where are they at in their journey, right? It's just as much you asking questions about whether they are fit for you, right? You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? Your offer, your result is not, everybody's in a different place. It may not work for everybody. So you want to ask questions, get to know them just as much as they're getting to know you. So and that happens in the DMs, right? That's really where it happens. So I really think this is my cross-platform approach, is that you want to use those other platforms to get people to your sales funnel. So you really want to be utilizing Instagram, right? I really think that's the secret sauce. Use Instagram where you can build your ideal audience, get those followers, and then ask them to your Facebook group. I think it's a really neutral ask, right? I think it is far easier to ask someone to join your Facebook group, where it's a free Facebook group. It's just a support group where I'm sharing resources and tips. That is a way easier ask than sign up for my newsletter, right? That feels way more abrupt. Or even more abrupt, buy my thing, right? I find it so shocking that, if it's a new follower, I hate those auto things, right? That if you follow a page on Instagram, immediately you get some right? Hey, sign up for my thing. That feels way too abrupt, right? I don't even know you. I might have just liked your pretty pictures, right? It's really too abrupt. So I would never encourage you to friend request someone and then immediately follow up with a DM that says, buy my thing. That feels way too scary, right? That feels way too direct, right? And again, maybe that's part of my passive upbringing, but I think there's an aligned place, right? Between being too passive, of course, that's where I think a lot of us women grew up, and to being direct about our business, right? But there's a fine middle ground without being pushy, right? I think that's it. We're all trying to be non-salesy, right? Nobody wants to be salesy. Nobody wants to be sold to. Nobody wants to be pushy, right? So that's really where I think the neutral ask of a Facebook group really comes in, right? Come on over to my Facebook group. I'm sharing resources and tips, free resources. I'd love to have you where we're all networking, connecting, right? Supporting each other in this journey. I think that's really a way more neutral ask as opposed to sign up for my newsletter, even get this freebie, right? Without having the conversation first. Then, of course, you can have that conversation like, oh, thanks so much for joining my group. You know, I saw that you were interested in this freebie. Can I send it over? Blah, 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 whatever that looks like, right? But definitely, I think the secret is happening in the DMs. That's where you're going to build those relationships. And that's far more important than your content. That's my 2 cents, right? So hopefully those 3 tips were helpful. This is how I think the best way to grow your group. Number 1, invite your friends, right? Give it a try. Get more people, get more eyeballs in there. Ask your friends to comment, right? That is really, I think, if you've got a dead group, right? If you've got a ghost town of a group, you've got to get the algorithm working for you. So you've got to get some people responding and seeing your stuff, liking and commenting in your group. So get some friends, right? Invite some friends, get some people over there. Number 2 is use other groups to invite people into your Facebook group. I see this so much, right? That we get pulled in a bunch of different directions. I see business owners offering way too many different things, right? In these other Facebook groups. And I'm in a lot of them, right? But if you're saying, hey, join my calendar here, right? Here's my free offer here. Here's my newsletter here. Here's my whatever. I'm not going to recognize that you are the same business, right? And if I'm not interested right then, I probably will never see another one of your posts. Whereas if it's a Facebook group, I know that it is a really small commitment, right? I know it's a really easy commitment. Hey, I might learn some stuff from that group. I'm going to join that group. I'm going to join that group way quicker, way before I'm going to sign up for a freebie, right? Or way before I'm going to go on someone else's website, right? And I think for Facebook too, they want you to stay on Facebook. So I think they will show Facebook groups more than, of course, outside links. So that's really, I think the goal. So use other Facebook groups. And then number 3 is the DMs. I really think that's where the sales are happening, right? I really think that is where you're building relationships, you're starting those conversations. People are one-on-one getting to know you. And that's really what's going to sell them, right? They're getting to know you, your perspective, your system, your business, and you're just building that one-on-one relationship, right? Being a genuine human. That's going to go way further than I think any content on your social media platforms. So those are the 3 ways to grow your Facebook group. The next step is really engagement, right? And getting qualified leads every single day. So the 2 tips for that, right? The two ways to get your group growing and engaging is really questions, right? So the questions, and that's really where I come in, right? I love creating specific and better questions because I think that's where, again, you're getting to know your audience way better. So the 2 places for questions are 1, upon entry, right? Your entry questions into your group, and I am always tweaking these, right? If people are not answering your questions on your entry, people are requesting to join your group, but they're not answering your questions, think about tweaking your questions, right? That's really number 1, is to figure out what those entry questions are. And I really believe those questions should be, number 1, qualifying. How are they in your target audience, right? Are they what, and more so, I always like to put a checklist for this. Number 1 question, are you currently struggling with this? And give 3 things that they could checklist. Weight loss, perimenopause, wellness, it could be more generic, or mindset, or motivation, or, whatever that is, health journey, business, whatever it is, right? So give 3 little options. Are you struggling? Are you currently struggling with this? Are you a woman coach who is currently, are you a mom who is currently, burnt out, and have a few checklist options? That way you're getting feedback from your audience, right? You're getting to know which words resonate with them, and you're deciding, are they appropriate for my group? So the number 1 entry question should be, are you this person? Are you in my target audience? That is qualifying your leads, right? And that is far more important than just getting a follower over on Instagram, right? That is far more qualifying. So then the second entry question should really be about your freebie. Drop your email for this amazing freebie, right? And make it enticing. Do you want to learn how to sleep better at night without having night sweats or something like that, right? Drop your email below. So right, some enticing freebie, or just, do you want to get on my newsletter where I'm sharing every week, free tips and resources about wellness or health or mindset or whatever it is, right, that you're helping with. So definitely, right, offer the freebie and get the email. That's how you're going to grow your email list, right? People are going to drop their freebie or drop their email, and then you've got to, of course, have a system on the back end that gets them that freebie and gets them on your email list. Then number 3 is the most important question. You want to ask them, and this is where you want a bunch of yeses, right? You just want them to say yes or no. And that question is, are you interested in more information? Or are you interested in my free call on blah, blah, blah? Are you interested in taking the next step with your health journey? I offer a free health audit or life something or other, right? So whatever that looks like, whatever your free kind of, I say gateway, right? Gateway offer is, whatever your free consultation is, put that in the step number 3. Because then all you have to worry about is following up with the yeses. That's it, right? Then all you have to focus on is getting people into your Facebook group every single day, and they answer those questions. Then hopefully if you're getting a good amount of people coming into your Facebook group every day, and that would be the goal, 5 to 10 qualified people coming into your group every single day, then all you have to follow up is with the yeses, right? Hopefully you would get a few yeses out of those 10 people that are requesting to join, and then you just have to follow up with those yeses, right? And then boom, you already know what their problem is. You already know that they're interested in you, and you can actually start to talk to them, right? So that's really the goal, right? That is really the goal. So that is the first place to put questions, is your entry questions upon entry. The second place for questions that is so important, and this is, I've written so much material on this, right? And I would love to share it with you, is engagement, right? So I hear this so much. I've got a bunch of people in this group, but no one's talking. I've gotten a bunch of people, right, to join, or I've been growing this Facebook group for years, but now no one's seeing my stuff, or no one's commenting on my stuff. No one's answering when I put out a post, right? And it feels like a dead group, right? It feels like you're just, shouting into the void. It feels like no one is responding. And that is where we can really work on customized questions that are really going to get your audience talking to themselves. I love thinking about a Facebook group like a party, right? It is a party. You are the host. No one wants to go to a party where all you do is talk about yourself, right? The host is just talking about herself and her business. No one wants to show up to that party. Of course, they're not engaging, right? Unfortunately, right? And hopefully that doesn't feel too harsh, but I see this so much. I see so many Facebook groups where it is just an extension of your social media profiles. They can see all that information about your business over on your social media profile, hopefully, right? I would never say stop posting altogether, right? It's important to have your little placeholder on the internet, on Instagram, on Facebook, on your personal profile, whatever that looks like. It's important to post about your business over there, but that is more about your business and you, right? Whereas your Facebook group is more about your customer. It is more about your target audience. You want to get them talking in that party, right? That is far more important. You want to get them responding to some questions. You want to get them talking about their wellness journey together. You want to get them talking about their business journey together. What are they struggling with? What are they, right? What results are you offering? What can you help them with? Ask them those questions. Get them talking about whatever it is you want them to talk about, right? So those are the really important places to put questions, right? And if you're curious and struggling with coming up with content and questions to get your people engaged, then let's talk. That is really where I come up with some creative ideas. I'm really good at figuring out what questions we need to ask your audience to get them talking about your offers, get them talking about your services, get them talking about you, right? Get them thinking in that mindset. You really want to set them up for, what is this group about, right? Get them talking. This is the group. We want them, it's the party. You want to get them engaged, right? You want to get them answering questions. So that's really important, right? So those are the two places to put questions. I really think questions are the key to really everything, right? Questions are the key to having that amazing DM script, right? That's where you can ask some questions, getting qualified people into your Facebook group upon entry, asking those really important entry questions. And then third, get people engaging in your Facebook group. Ask more questions. That's really the key. All right, so that is really it for Facebook groups. I would love to hear if this was helpful to anyone. I would love to hear If you feel like this was helpful, I would love to hear your 2 action items. What are you going to try today? What are you going to tweak? Are you going to tweak your entry questions? Are you going to ask more questions in your Facebook group? And are you going to try other Facebook groups to get them over? Hopefully this has been helpful for you. And I always say, right, I hear this so much, well, I'm going to try it on my own first, right? And I get it. I completely get it. Try things on your own, but don't waste years, right? I wasted years trying things on my own, trying free material, downloading an affordable course, right? I wasted years in this trial and error mode. Why not learn from someone who has made all the mistakes so that you don't have to, right? That is really the goal, because I want you to fast forward your business and I want you to start getting 5 to 10 qualified leads today, right? Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, right? We're already in quarter 4, so I would love to get you moving this quarter before the end of the year, right? Let's get your business, let's get qualified leads to your business every single day. Wouldn't that feel amazing? So let's work on it together. If you are at all interested in my strategy sessions, feel free to just say strategy. I offer a free social media audit, or that can be a overall marketing strategy audit. Whatever system you have in place, let's look at it and figure out where the holes are and figure out how to get it all working together into one cohesive system that is effective, right? That is getting you qualified leads every single day to your business. That would really be the goal. So just say strategy below if you're at all interested. And I hear this all the time too, right? That fear can keep us playing small, right? And so if you feel like right now, oh, that's not something I can spend money on, right? Or I'm not ready, or I just can't do this right now, right? I'm afraid to take the next step. And here's what I would say, right? It is far scarier staying stuck. Because if you are stuck and you know you don't have the knowledge to move forward, or you don't have the tools, or you don't have the strategy, staying stuck is far scarier to me, right? Because you don't have hope. If you're staying stuck and you don't have a plan to move forward, that is far scarier than taking a little leap out of your comfort zone, right? Taking a little leap out of maybe more than you feel like you can afford right now, right? Because, and I get it, it's scary. But if you are wanting to make a certain amount as a coach, right? You are wanting to make that bigger income, that monthly income. Sometimes you have to get that knowledge, right? And it's valuable. It is valuable. If you are wanting to grow your business, you sometimes have to pay for that knowledge in order to get value and bring it back to your business, right? So I always say investing in coaching. I think the biggest secret out there is that coaches, all coaches, every successful coach that I have met has paid for coaching. I really believe that, right? Because we are all so deep in the weeds in our own business, it is really hard to see the overall bigger picture. So it's really hard to kind of get out of our own way and get out of the weeds of our business and move it forward, right? A coach is someone who is really, they've been there, they've done that, they have seen it all, and they're ready to move you forward, and they want to share that with you. So I would love to be that person to help your business move forward. If you're at all interested, again, just say strategy below. I would love to help you move forward. I have lots of options of how to work with me. I have different levels at every stage. You can do a 6-week or a 12-week program. I also have my new workbook. So if you are interested in working on your own, if you are still in the DIY mode and you want to work on these questions, right? I have a workbook on how to ask better questions. So definitely, if that's something you're interested in, just say workbook below and I'll definitely send you the link for that. I'm really excited to get more people asking questions and asking better questions in your group. So if you're interested in that, just say workbook below. All right, I think that is it for today. What I always say about the greatest benefits of coaching is really that accountability. 3 things, right? Accountability, mindset, and sales. What I often see with business owners is that, especially women, right? We are taught or told our whole life that we are not good at sales, right? Or that you just think, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy, right? And what I have learned is that the proper sales skills, everyone can learn. Everyone can learn an aligned place that feels good for you, right? No one wants to be pushy. No one wants to be salesy, right? And there is an aligned place for you in your business where you can be a bit more direct, but also be effective in that salesperson in getting people to respond, right? And I really think I think it's more about sales skills and sales strategy than whether people are good at sales. I think all women can be good at sales, right? We are good at selling our kids on eating their vegetables, right? We are good at telling our spouses where we want to go for dinner, right? We are good at convincing people of a lot of stuff. And because we come from a place of empathy, I think far more so than perhaps the men, right? Is that we have a really deep empathy that I think we can reach our customers in a way we can really put ourselves in their shoes and understand where they're coming from. And I think that's what makes you a really valuable salesperson. So if you are telling yourself, oh, I've just never been good at sales, right? I've got this business, but I'm just not good at sales. I'm here to tell you, right? You better get good at sales quick. If you want to make money in business, if you want to grow your business, you've got to get good at sales. So if you are missing some sales skills or sales strategy, let's talk. That is definitely one thing that I love sharing with my coaching clients is how to be a more effective salesperson. You can do it. I think women are amazing salespeople. So that is my goal. And like I said, accountability, right? It's really hard to, I think, stay in that abundant mindset or stay motivated with our business, right? If things aren't working, right, we tend to get really down and really discouraged, right? But if you have someone cheering in your corner, cheering you on every single day and telling you, here's the next step, here's what to do, wouldn't that be a relief, right? Because often we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I've tried this, but it's not working. I guess I'll keep trying that same thing. That can be so frustrating, right? And not effective, right? If it's not working and you keep doing that thing, that is not going to be effective, right? So having a coach in your corner to really tell you, here's the next step, right? If this isn't working, let's do this. Here's how we can tweak it. I've been there. I've done it, right? I've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. So that is really the benefit, I think, of coaching, and learn from someone who's gone before you, right? So accountability, mindset, and sales. I really think those are the biggest benefits to working with a coach, as well as that strategy, right? Just knowing a strategy that works. So if there's anything I can answer, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to answer your questions about Facebook groups or about your business or anything that's been going on with you, mindset, sales. I would love to help. Just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise,